Alright, what's going on, y'all? OJ back here with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about UFC fighters who have fought mostly in like other promotions. Alright, some of these guys they've actually done really well for themselves in the UFC, but some of them not so much. So we're gonna be ranking some of the prominent fighters from other organizations who came over to the UFC within the last like couple of years and just kind of rank them based on how well they've been doing in their UFC careers. So with that being said, I'm just gonna have a set of cheers for you guys, and you'll get the gist of the video once I get into it. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. To start off this list, we got Aaron Pico. He fought on the co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view yesterday. I'm gonna say for now Rock. Now, he didn't look that bad against Leroy Murphy. Like, he actually did pretty well up until the spinning elbow. Like, Aaron Pico, from what I've seen, very aggressive and he's very game. It's just that he is kind of chinny. Like, you shouldn't really be getting knocked out by Leroy Murphy. Like, I know Leroy Murphy's really good, but Leroy Murphy isn't exactly known for his knockout ability. Maybe Leroy Murphy improved. I kind of doubt it because he's like what 35 years old at this point, but I might be wrong. But either way, I'm gonna keep calling him a schmuck. I am interested to see like how he'll do against like featherweights who are like just outside the rankings, like Chepe Mariscal, uh Melquizel Costa. Like those guys I think are due for a ranked opponent very soon. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if one of them knocks out Aaron Pico in the first round because then we'll know for sure that Aaron Pico is a Bellator tick. Because there's a lot of unknowns, I'm gonna say that he's a schmuck for now, and we're gonna move on. All right, up next we got Kaio Sakura. Now he's not from Bellator, but you might as well consider him with the Bellator ticks. He also fought yesterday on the main card of UFC 319, and he lost to Alexander Pantoja in his debut. All right, nothing to be ashamed of. Alexander Pantoja is the greatest featherweight. I'm sorry, flyweight right now. Then he lost to Tim Elliott. I understand that Tim Elliott isn't a bad loss, but in 2025, Tim Elliott is near 40 years old. Tim Elliott is just coming out here having fun. All right. I think he made a Twitter post talking about how if you can't beat him, then you shouldn't belong in the UFC. All right. I think that's a little bit harsh, but at the same time, I kind of see where he's coming from. And Kaya Sakura lost to Tim Elliott. All right. Like, I understand that he was doing well in the striking, but nearly everyone does well in the striking is Tim Elliott. Like, Tim Elliott doesn't really have any knockout potential. He's just kind of flicking a bunch of random shit out there, like looking all fancy and stuff. But in reality, he's not really doing much of anything on the feet. All right. And on the ground, yeah, one way traffic. Tim Elliott just dominated him. So, yeah, it was a very, disappointing performance from Kaio Sakura. He kind of showed that he doesn't really have the knowledge in jiu-jitsu or wrestling to really do anything against any ranked caliber flyweight or like anyone like even outside the rankings. Like I know a bunch of people that could probably beat him, like Andre Lima, a Loner Kavanaugh, Charles Johnson. Like all those guys will probably beat Kaya Sakura even worse. So Kaya Sakura, like he was a fun project, but unfortunately, he's not much better than a typical Bellator tick. All right, now up next we got Michael Venom Page. I think Michael Venom Page, he's doing well. Right now, I understand he lost to Ian Gary, as much as I do not want to say this, Ian Gary's actually really good because other than that, I think Michael Venom Page, he won every single fight. He beat Sharon Magomedov, he beat Jared Cannonier, he beat Kevin Holland. Did he fight anyone else? I'm not too sure, but yeah, like MVP, he's very elusive on the feet, and he kind of showed that unless you have like a very good understanding of like how to mix in martial arts, you're not really gonna beat him. Especially if you're a pure striker, like you're just not really beating him because his distance management is just like something else compared to every single other person in the UFC roster. So Michael Venom Page, I think he'll do well, especially at middleweight, as long as he doesn't fight any grapplers. Like if it's like a pure striking matchup, like I could see MVP winning because I don't really see anyone really beating MVP in a pure striking matchup, unless you get like the top levels, like maybe like a JDM or like what's his name? Hmm, I'm forgetting, but yeah, either way, MVP, he's very good and he's doing very well so far in his career. All right, now up next we got Rainer de Ritter. Now, when I first watched Rainer de Ritter, like this guy almost got slumped out by GM3. This guy, I didn't really think much of him, but he's built himself up as a legitimate contender. Like he beat Robert Whitaker, he beat Bo Nickel, which isn't saying much, but still. He submitted Kevin All into the first round. Rainer de Ritter, he finds himself in the top 5 of the middleweight division, and depending on who Rainer de Ritter gets next, I think he has a chance to get a title shot. So I see Rainer de Ritter as a legitimate contender right now, and that's actually really impressive considering the UFC didn't really think of him as a legitimate contender. They just kind of chucked him in there against GM3 in the Apex to try and see what happens. All right, now up next we got Michael Chandler. I'm gonna say he's mid, right? Like I know a lot of people who started watching the sport recently think Michael Chandler. He's basically kind of a schmuck, if not a Bellator tick. But Michael Chandler, he did beat Dan Hooker. I know that was like ages ago, but it's a very nice win, especially now because Dan Hooker's on a 4-fight win streak since that loss to Michael Chandler. But his recent losses, yeah, it kind of shows that he's not like elite level at this point. Lost to Patty Pimblett, lost to Charles Oliveira, lost to Dustin Poirier, which aren't bad losses, but it's just the way he loses. Like he got dominated by Charles Oliveira 50-45. He got destroyed by Patty Pimblett into a third round ground and pound TKO. He got submitted by Dustin Poirier after cheating the whole fight. Yeah, Michael Chandler, like I thought at some point he was going to be like a stay in the top 10, but yeah, I think he's a little bit too old at this point and the losses are piling up. And I don't think the UFC is really going to give him any easy matchups at this point. So he's pretty mid at this point. All right, now up next we got Patchy Mix, Bellator Tick. Now, Patchy Mix, it's not just because he lost to Mario Bautista. Like Mario Bautista's like a legitimate like top 8 bantamweight in the UFC. It's the way he lost to Mario Bautista. Like Mario Bautista was having a field day out there against Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix literally could not move his feet for 15 minutes straight, and he just kind of played the role of a punching bag. There was nothing he could do in that fight against Mario Bautista. He was talking a lot of trash to hype us up, and I fell for the hype. And out of salt, from now on, I'm gonna call him a Bellator tick. And I think the UFC now sees him as a Bellator tick because Patchy Mix went from fighting someone within the top 10 to fighting someone who's just making their debut. And I think if Patchy Mix loses that fight, he's probably gonna get cut from the UFC. All right, now up next we got Minnel Cap. I say Minnel Cap is doing well. Now, the only thing that's really holding him back right now is his like pullouts. Yeah, he's been known for frequently pulling out of a lot of fights. He just pulled out of his fight with Brandon Royval in International Fight Week, and he's not. It's not a one-time offense. That being said, though, Minnel Cap, like he originally came from Ryzen, same promotion as Kaio Sakura, but unlike Kaio Sakura, Minnel Cap he was doing really well. Uh, his only loss recently is against Muhammad Makayev. And as much as I don't want to admit it, Muhammad Makayev is a legitimate like top 5 contender. Not a bad loss to have. And everyone else he's been looking pretty dominant against. So Manel Cap, I'd say he's doing really well. And as long as he doesn't pull out of any more fights, I think Manel Cap, he can be a legitimate contender at some point. All right, now up next we got Musayev. I'm gonna say he's a Bellator tick. Like this guy was number 2 at Bellator at one point. Like that's shameful. And I think he was like a rising uh champion or something like that. I'm not too sure. If you guys want to fact check me, feel free to do so. But yeah, anyways, Tofik Musayev, yeah, he's not good. He literally got ragdolled by Mike the Orobai, which again, Mike the Orobai is like ranked-ish caliber in the lightweight division, but yeah, you can't be getting submitted by Kimura in the first round. Like you were completely useless against Mike the Orobai. I reckon that Tofik Musayev is like bottom of the barrel, like level of lightweight in the UFC. I wouldn't be surprised if he loses to like fucking Tiago Moises. All right. I don't really rate Tofik Musayev. Maybe he proves me wrong in his next fight, but I haven't really seen anything from him, so I'm just gonna call him a Bellator tick. All right, now up next we got Patricio Pitbull. Now Patricio Pitbull has not looked great in any of his fights, but I'm still gonna call him mid. Now, the reason I'm calling him mid is because he did beat Dan Ige. Right? It was a terrible performance. Do not watch that fight unless you want to cure your insomnia. But he did beat Dan Ige. He got absolutely butchered by Yair Rodriguez, and I don't know. There's a pretty large gap between Yair Rodriguez and Dan Ige, though. So I kind of get where Patricio Pitbull's like standing right now. I'd say he's like bottom of the rankings right now. I don't really think he should be. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost to anybody on the come up in the featherweight division. Again, like a Chepe Mariscal or Steve Garcia or like what's his name? Oh yeah, Kevin Vallejos. Maybe like 2, 3 years in the future. But yeah, I don't really see Patricio Pitbull as like a legitimate contender. And it's only gonna get worse from here because he's like what 38, 39 years old. And he joined the UFC like pretty late. Right now, up next, we got Alexander Volkov. I'd say he's a legitimate contender. Now, Alexander Volkov, he had the majority of his career at Bellator. Actually, no, he had the majority of his career in the UFC. But he came in as a Bellator champion of the heavyweight division, and he's done pretty well. Like, the only times he's really lost outside of Derek Lewis is against, like, top 5 interim champion level or, like, champion level, like, fighters. And Alexander Volkov, despite his ugly looking record, he has a lot of good wins as well. Like there's a reason he's in the top 5 right now, and he arguably should have won against Cyril Gane. So he should be fighting next for the undisputed heavyweight title. But yeah, unfortunately the UFC doesn't like him. That's the only reason why he's not doing fighting Tom Aspinall, but I think he's a legitimate contender otherwise. And I would pick Alexander Volkov to beat most heavyweights, which isn't saying much, but still, out of all the lobby NPC heavyweights, Alexander Volkov kind of stands out as someone who actually knows what they're doing in terms of mixed martial arts. All right, now up next we got Abus Magomedov. I'm gonna say that he is mid. Now I have no idea how he finds himself in the rankings, but Abus Magomedov is in the rankings. Now he originally came from PFL, and I don't think he was even doing that well in the PFL. But ever since he came over, he's lost to like top contenders and he's beaten everyone else. But some of the matchups he's had against like Bruno Ferreira, where he kind of looked sloppy and mid, against Michel Pereira, where both of them looked incredibly mid. Yeah, mid is what is perfect. Mid is perfect to describe Abus Magomedov, and I don't really think he's gonna have any more chances to get up the rankings. I think the UFC is going to set him up against like a rising contender, maybe like a Gregory Rodriguez. Yeah, I just don't really think Abus Magomedov right now. I think he's not really going to get any farther, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the rankings very soon. All right, now up next we got Jiri Prochazka, another legitimate contender. Now, Jiri Prochazka, he came over from Ryzen a couple of years ago, and he's looked very fun to watch since. Now, he's kind of lost a couple of fights to Alex Pereira, but out of all the guys right now in the light heavyweight division, I think he's the only one with like some sort of chance against Magomed Ankalaev, which you might scoff at because Magomed Ankalaev beat Alex Pereira, who knocked out Yuri Prohaska twice. But realistically, does Magomed Ankalaev have like the crazy one punch knockout power that Alex Pereira does? I don't think so. So I think if anyone can beat Magomed Ankalaev, which I'm not saying Yuri Prohaska will, I think Yuri Prohaska out of everyone has the best chance. Isn't that much. All right, I would still pick Magomedov Ankalaev to win, but I think Jiri Prochazka is a legitimate contender for a reason. And last but not least, we have Kayla Harrison. Now, Kayla Harrison, she originally came from the PFL. She was the former multiple time defending women's lightweight champion. And so far in the UFC, she looked really good. She had a stinker against Ketlin Vieira, but Ketlin Vieira turns out is actually still top three level. Like she just came off a win against Macy Chasson, and I thought that Macy Chasson was going to be the next title challenger against Kayla Harrison. So Kayla Harrison kind of proved that she's a lot farther ahead than most of the competition in the women's bantamweight division. The only way I can see her lose right now is if she fights Amanda Nunes or Norma Dumont. Outside of that, I don't really think she's going to lose. She already beat like two of the top five contenders. So Kayla Harrison, she's done a very good job, and there's a reason why she's the UFC women's bantamweight champion right now. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below if I missed any fighter who came from another organization that joined the UFC. And overall, let me know if you kind of agree with this list. But other than that, make sure to like and subscribe. And one more thing, though, before I leave, I'm leaving back home for tomorrow. Some of you probably have never even seen my original room. Uh, I guess I'm pretty excited because now I get to kind of upload these videos at a more consistent US based time. It was kind of hard to adjust over the last few weeks. But yeah, I'm heading back home, so I don't think it's gonna be a problem anymore. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.